Want to see an LVP nightmare? Hey, I'm out here at a job where a previous customer, who asked me to clean their home, wanted me to come out to their commercial building. And the reason he calls me, he says, Rob, I've got LVP in all my offices and my hall and my front area. However, half of it cleans up decently. The other half doesn't clean up decently. There's something coming up from the floor. Would you mind coming by and take a look? So I came out here, I inspected it, I did a sample. Come on along with me right now and I'll show you exactly what happened. Okay, as I was doing my inspection, I'm walking through the front. What I noticed inside the front here is soiled, but there's nothing, unordinary going on. However, as I came back into the back here, I noticed some weeping or seeping, whatever you want to call it, what appears to be glue coming up between the seams. But why is it happening in the front and not in the back? Well, let's go back here. You can see where I did a micro test. I'm real big on doing micro tests. What a micro test does is it kind of gives you an idea of what's going on with the floor. It also gives you an idea of what type of results you're going to have. You can show the customer, and you can also set about how long it's going to take. So you're really working on setting the expectation levels. However, I went one step further. After I cleaned it, I was talking to the customer. By the way, it cleaned up fantastic. You know what I mean? You can tell it's really soiled. Cleaned this whole circle here. It came out real nice. But more than likely, it's not going to prevent it from happening. If it already happened once, it may happen again. So as I got to talking to the client, I said, was anything different done from the building? Is this separate from the other part of the building? And guess what I found out? I found out that they put a moisture barrier when they did the installation in the front under the LVP. They did not put a moisture barrier back here. So that's probably what's causing the problem. So right now, I'd like to show you a pro tip. Okay, this pro tip right here is I went ahead and created a held harmless, or basically a limited liability agreement. And what I did is I basically just had the customer sign off on the scope of the service and the fact that there are some pre-existing conditions, and I'm not going to be held responsible for that. So not only did I set the expectation levels properly, but I also had them sign off on an agreement properly. That way, this problem that's here is really their problem. It's not going to become my problem. However, I'll go ahead and take the time to clean it up. Let's see how it turns out. Now time to lay down the Frog Nasty. This is perfect with the citrus solvent to really break this stuff up. Notice what it's doing here with the buffer. We took a buffer, 175, put a red pad on there, really breaking that stuff up. All we gotta do is rinse it. Man, it's looking great. Now, by the way, I like to lower the PSI, lower the temperature. I like it around 800 PSI, so it's just barely turning. And you can see the fantastic results. And then after that, we'll work our edges really nice. As you can see, it's rinsing really clean, easy. You can really get up pretty close, surprisingly, with that machine, but you're going to have to go ahead and take the time and do a little bit of edging. Now, as you can see, the floors turned out amazing. I'm telling you what, this customer was really stoked, especially after took the time. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and lay down some finish, some coating. And it's a two-part product, so it really lays down well. It really adheres nicely. Plus, by taking the time and really agitating like we did ahead of time, we really prep the floor so that way it adheres really nicely and it holds up well for them. We always explain to the customer that they can place furniture, but they can't take the time and slide furniture across of it because then they'll just damage it. It really takes about 2 weeks for it to totally cure. So I really like to emphasize that to the client. However, let's suppose they did scratch it a little bit. You can come back with a high-speed burnisher and clean that up in a heartbeat. Now you see Matt's edging it. It's also going along behind the doors. It's really important to make sure you get all the areas that you possibly can. I really like this view here. It's really cool so you get an idea how Matt's doing it with a flat mop. That's all you need. You don't need a whole lot of it. Take your time, put it down nice and even, and we recommend at least 2 coats. 2 coats of this, and it'll look amazing. As a matter of fact, the next day the customer looked at it. They sent me a text message and said, floor looked incredible. As you can see right here, the before shot over here, look how bad it looked with all that mastic coming through there. It was just weeping up. Now, I advised the customer, good possibility it might come back. But we're going to do a little sample in another area and see if it holds it down. But really, the real true solution is taking the time and changing it. You know, I think my guys did a great job. You know, we always try to under-promise and then over-deliver. We also always make sure we set the expectations accordingly. That makes a huge difference in the outcome of the job and also in the satisfaction from the clients. Now, this is how we did the job. To me, I think it came out almost perfect considering the conditions. However, I'd like to know what you think. If you don't mind, let me know down inside the comments. As always, remember we operate on the law of reciprocity. I believe if I help you become successful, you'll help me become successful. And I'm living proof of it at tmfshop.net. So we appreciate you supporting our small family business for all your cleaning needs. On top of it, please take the time to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell. I'm Rob Allen with TruckMountForums. Have yourself a great day.